Good morning from Joe's Oldham St Andrew's Church, and welcome to our short thought for the day. How well do you cope with the unexpected? Some people hate to be surprised, some rather like it, but I suspect most of us would likely think that it depended on the circumstances. A pleasant surprise, present, or treat might go down very well. A nasty shock, rather less so. How about the times when you were pretty sure that you knew what was going to happen, but it turns out very differently, and perhaps not nearly as well as you had hoped? Do you put a brave face on it and pretend that you are just taking everything in your stride? Or do you feel hard done by and moan or complain? Job, a character in the Old Testament, has been through the mill and endured tremendous suffering. He considers himself to be faithful to God and can't understand why he is in such dire predicament. What's worse, that God seems not to be responding to his prayers. He can't sense God's presence. He feels totally spiritually cut off. Then, after considerable time and getting no encouragement from his well-meaning friends, who basically told him to buck up, accept that he'd been at fault and confess to God, he does get an answer from God. You get the impression that Job expects an apology from God, an acknowledgement that he was being punished in error, and that everything would be put right. But no, God thunders and conveys his authority and majesty in the powerful whirlwind. Instead of answering Job's immediate questions, he poses some difficult ones of his own. Where were you when the world was created? How do you manage the stars and the planets? Job realizes that he has not only been feeling sorry for himself, but he has put himself above God, regarded God as being at his beck and call. I won't jump ahead to the end of the story, we can wait until next week for that. But for now, this was a wake-up call for Job. He saw with fresh eyes the importance of God being given his due honour as the Almighty and Creator, with himself being God's servant, not his master. These are not easy issues, and yes, we know that we have to take God's love shown in Jesus into account. But perhaps it does alert us to the dangers of treating God as though he were just a fairy godfather who comes to do us favours when we ask. Perhaps if we gave him the respect, honour and worship that he deserves, we wouldn't be quite so surprised with some of his answers to us. Thanks for joining us. May the Lord bless you. Amen.